I didn't know. Again, that's
Yeah.
making me look bad.
Chris, is padded practice when it gets real, for lack of a better term?
It amps it up a little bit. I wouldn't say real. I mean, real is it's full go, tackle to the ground, everything's in play, and that's not necessarily something we're going to do. Even when we have our live periods, it's still Jags on Jags. So we tell our guys it's competitive, but it's not combative. We're not going to take blow up shots on our guys. They're not going to do it to our guys. So there's still an element that is not, what's going to happen come September week 1 when it all starts up. So. But there's certainly another intensity, and that's what you want to see from both sides as it gets going with pads on.
Did you find out much about the offensive line during padded practices?
I think you gain more information. I mean, you're starting to establish an identity at least of what you want to be and what you hope to see. And really, all we hope throughout camp is that every day we're improving on the things we try to put our intentions towards. There's a goal every single day, whether it's the type of period we had, the situations we script in it, the plays we're trying to run, the looks we're trying to see from the defense, anything like that. We just want to continue to grow in that, and then you want to see your individual period carry over to, the half pod groups to the team reps, and see if that grows every day.
Everybody talks about Trevor taking more ownership of the offense, kind of shaping the offense a little bit. Mm-hmm. How has that process gone? And over the last couple of years, and is there a ton out of the offensive playbook now that maybe you guys thought would work a couple of years ago or whatever? Has he trimmed that much out or whatever?
No, I mean, I think it ebbs and flows every single year to where we'd like to do this, and then you either never get the looks for it, we just don't invest the time, there's some reason that keeps us from it, or we just weren't as good as we thought we'd be at something, or certain player maybe not. So there's things that are always kind of changing every single year. Our offense is not the same as it was 2 years ago. It's not the same as it was last year. It won't be the same come week 12 as we get rolling. There's a constant evolution, I think, with your skill set, what you're really good at, the looks presented to you. But as far as Trevor's ownership, it's more just mastering the little details of things of, why do we like a certain look? And it may be he checked to a play that threw the ball to the flat because that's going to get us a quick completion to a ball carrier in an advantageous situation, or maybe it was a bad situation for us. We had a bad play on, we had a bad look, and the best thing for us right there with the time permitted was to spit the ball to the flat and get somebody going. I mean, there's little things like that. And then as we continue to build and grow and evolve and everybody gets on the same page, it may be we have a run call, they line up in a look that we just know is not right, and he gets us to something completely different. And sometimes that's the best call for us. Sometimes it's getting out of a bad call. And those are the things you want to see from your quarterbacks.
I know there's no set time limit on when a guy gets good at that, but when do you expect a guy to get really good at that?
I think everybody's kind of on their own journey and where they are. I think you see a lot of quarterbacks now in this league from late 20s, early 30s really start to master their position and really get really, really good in their system and what they do. And I mean, there's certain guys where it's kind of Peyton Manning, wherever he went, Indy, Denver, it was Peyton Manning's offense. And it kind of Aaron Rodgers, you kind of see that where these great ones, the offense kind of goes with them. This is what they know really well. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to introduce new things, have new ideas and concepts and things like that. But, I mean, there's guys like that this is kind of the offense they run, how they do it, how they operate, and you let them go when they're really rolling like that.
I feel like now that we're 6+ days in, we can ask wide receiver room, competition, depth. Describe the competition beyond the three up at the top who I think are kind of obvious.
Right. Those guys are all doing a great job. And it's good to see, Devin. We feel like Devin's going to have a role on this team as a returner. So getting him mixed in, and whether it's inside out, all the different ways you can use a guy like that, because odds are he's going to have a jersey on game day. So how do we use all the people that are available to us, and getting him mixed in there, and then seeing Parker, Elijah, Tim, Seth Williams, Cephas, all these guys competing for this spot. Skates has made a couple plays in the last couple days. All these guys just competing, and that's all you want to see. We're very intentional with what we're trying to do, with what we envision a role being for these people in the red zone or third down or in the run game. And then special teams periods are critical for those guys. So it's hard for those guys at times because you're going from 7-on-7 where you're competing your butt off to special teams to all of a sudden you're in team reps and you got to block defensive ends and toss crack schemes. But that's what comes with the job. That's how you earn jobs around here. And so you want to develop that trust in them, that they know what they're doing and they can do it, and then really see that skill set flourish. But as you look at the back end, a lot of it's special teams value and then trust. Can we trust you to go in and play the slot, the outside, whatever, based on what happens in a game? Because that's typically how game day goes for us.
It appears Brian Thomas has had a couple of pretty good days of practice. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we've seen from the day he got here, he's gotten better every single day. And that's all we're looking forward to. I mean, we don't need him ready to play week 1 today. We need him ready to play week 1, week 1. So we just want to continue to see little bits of growth every single day with him, with his understanding, with the way he plays, the physicality he's seeing from our DB group. So he's getting challenged. He's getting challenged physically. He's getting challenged mentally. And so far, every day he's gotten a little bit better. And that's what we just want to continue to focus on with him and all our guys as well.
What have you seen from Gabe Davis so far, as he develops and gets more comfortable in this system?
Yeah, I think you can see him do a lot of different things. He's been involved in the run game in terms of blocking first level, second level. You've seen him over the middle a couple times in the last couple days, is where you like to see that big body presence rolling through the middle of the field there, on whether it was a third down or just a backside reset concept. And then I think he's going to have a role as an outside receiver in contested catch situations, obviously down the field situations, as those things start to permit themselves. And sometimes it's hard to get those situations. Our defense plays certain coverages that we want to install certain concepts to get them installed in the offense, get everybody comfortable with it. But, it takes time to research them, to get into it against the looks we want in practice when we're in competitive situations. So sometimes we're installing a lot of stuff in a walkthrough that we may not get the rep for a few days out here.
You kind of have that annoying little brother relationship with Mac Jones a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
exactly your annoying little brother. Is
Yeah.
that a good way to describe it?
I think that's a good way to describe it. What I love about Mac is that Mac loves football. He loves playing football. He loves talking football, which I think that I'm very similar in that way. So we have a good rapport in that sense. Mac's always having a good time, always talking. We talked about that before, so I got no problem talking. We like to chirp back and forth every once in a while, so it's fun. It's fun being in his headset, being able to talk to him and kind of rib him a little bit that you may not see or hear, and he gives it right back. So I think we just have a good time competing and talking football.
Chris, we've asked you before about Travis, but I guess how much more production do you feel like can be there? He's already been productive.
Yeah, he's been very productive in the 2 years he's played for us. But I think too, a guy like Travis, I would never put a ceiling on what he's capable of. He's got a skill set as a receiving running back. I think there's going to be growth in his understanding of the run game, what we're trying to accomplish, and I think we can put him in a lot of good situations to be able to maximize his value to our offense.
Do you think Tank is ready to take on more of the load this year? And what does he have to do to get on the field to help take the load off of Travis Moore for us?
I think so. I mean, just his understanding of the offense, the way things flow, what the expectations are when he comes in the game. So, yeah, certainly. And Tank was, I think Tank had a lot of unlucky situations last year. The first game of the year, he had a play that I'm sure was a teach tape across the league of picking up a ball that he thought was a dead ball and it getting punched out. I mean, there's just some things that I guarantee you anybody that was in the room the next day will never have that situation happen to them again in our offense or our team because it was a coaching situation. But we trust Tank, and we talked about this at the end of last year, that Tank is just going to continue to get better like we talked about with Brian and our other young guys every single day. And obviously it's going to come down to producing on the field to really, really develop that trust across the unit, but we like where Tank is heading.
Any particular players on this roster who are, pretty low profile, don't have a lot of notoriety or anything like that have stood out to you on offense at all, regardless of position?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I don't know what you guys deem notoriety or not, but like Sean Bowman is a guy that the day he got here, we didn't know a whole lot about Sean, honestly, but the day Sean's got here, he does things right. He does it the right way. He tries to be physical. He's where he's supposed to be. But he's a guy that, I don't know if there were a lot of expectations on Sean Bowman, and I don't know where this is going to go for him as it moves forward, but he's a guy that just that when you ask that question, he's the first name that popped to mind of a guy that probably didn't have a lot of notoriety, but just does things the right way. It's fun to coach when a guy does that.
What about somebody like Josiah Jaguars? Because he looks like
Yeah.
It seems like a couple times in practice he's flashed a little bit.
He's another guy that just does the right thing. He's in the right spot, doing it the right way, and he was a good acquisition for the room. I mean, he's got experience playing in this league. He's been in some similar systems in some way, shape, or form, but just finds a way to get things done and be productive out there in his opportunities.
It's probably normal to you, but it looks like you've had like extensive conversations with Doug, Christian during practice. Why is that important? Why is it important to make sure everybody's, on the same wavelength in the middle of practice?
Well, I think we're always, as an entire staff, I think we're always involved in communicating with our players, getting feedback from them. We talked about that the other day of, asking them why they did certain things. What are they seeing out there? What do they like? How do they like to do certain things? So that's always part of it. I think we need to be in constant communication. And then, as far as Doug and I, there's a lot you probably don't see because it's not always out on the field. But in here every single day, we're all working side by side. But yeah, I think communication is the most critical thing, especially as an offense. We always tell our guys we just want 11 people running the exact same play, seeing it the exact same way, IDing who the front side point is, how we're blocking a certain look. As long as we do that, whether it's right or wrong, if we have 11 guys on the same page, we got a very good chance to be successful.
One thing, since you've been here, and I know you may not necessarily want to speak for the defense, is this the hardest roster for an undrafted free agent to probably make the 53?
I think it's certainly a very talented roster. I would agree with that. As far as, I don't know. I think every situation is different. Every guy, whatever their opportunities may be, you never want injuries to happen, but injuries happen, and that presents opportunities for other people. And I think, at least on the coaching side of it, you want it to be a meritocracy where you play the best, you get the most opportunities, and you get a chance to contribute to this roster. And I think we've done a good job of giving guys that opportunity where you get a chance to compete, and if you earn more reps, you'll get more reps. And that's just kind of the way it goes, and it gives everybody an opportunity to build the best team possible.
Thanks.
Thanks.